let's get it with our top story this evening as well. So, according to Marshall Pruitt from Racer.com, multiple sources have told him that NASCAR is trying to acquire a 50% stake in the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. Now, this stake became available after the passing of the late Kevin Krovenhoven, and now, as well, it seems like NASCAR is attempting to make a move to Long Beach. Now, Ben Kennedy, Senior Vice President of Racing Development and Strategy at NASCAR, told Racer that the Southern California market is important to NASCAR, adding that they've looked at several tracks in the area, but declined to specify which ones. Now, the link to this article is in the video description below, and the photo taken there by Travis Hinkle from Penske Entertainment. Matt, starting with you on this one as well, do you like the idea of NASCAR potentially racing at Long Beach, and could they take a bit of a shine off, and could they coexist there with the IndyCar race?
You know, I don't think so. I think obviously we've got the Brickyard 400 coming back this year. That's a big deal to have the stock cars back on the oval where they belong. But I was skeptical about Chicago last year and how that would play out. And of course, we all know what happened with the weather issues and such like. Let's hope that NASCAR get that race off this year without all that drama with delays and flooding and everything else that happened last year. And that can be their street track, that can be their thing. But to go into Long Beach, the longest running street track in the States, and there's been many over the journey of IndyCar. You think of places that we don't go to anymore, like Vancouver, Cleveland at the airport, Baltimore. They've all disappeared or merged or formed in various things. Long Beach has been the constant since the Formula One days back in the 70s and 80s. And then IndyCar obviously took it on once the F1 paddock moved away. And if you think about the IndyCar calendar, you've got the 500 and then you've got Long Beach. They are the two pillars of IndyCar to me. Obviously, there's some other big races as well during the season. But they're like St. Pete, for instance, is another one that could be maybe thrown into that category, and we had that a few weeks ago. But I just can't see NASCAR and Long Beach. It just doesn't sound right to me. And what they have to make? Surely they'd have to make huge track changes. I mean, even the picture we had up just before there of the fountain section. I mean, that's narrow for Indy cars and for sports cars when we have the IMSA race there on the Saturday. You're behind you, exactly right there, Josh, with what you've got there at the fountain and the hairpin as well. It's just not going to happen. They've made changes to that part of the track previously to aid the opening up of the left-hander before the right there at the hairpin, which has helped. But be a car park on every lap. It would be a car park. I just cannot see, if this is a thing, which seems to be, and we know that NASCAR want the Southern California race. We know the storied history of Auto Club Speedway over the last couple of years. We've had the clash at the Coliseum, which has run to the end of its 3-year deal. Not 3 or 4 weeks ago, there was some stories doing the rounds about maybe going to Dodger Stadium. So they are pushing very hard to get a race in that part of the world, which, it's a big market. But going to Long Beach, no. They should go to Monterey, where they had the IndyCar race back in the day, down there at Fundidora Park. That's kind of sort of ish near. I mean, it's not near. It's not like Birmingham and Wolverhampton near, but it's not too far away. That's a proper wide track with some runoff area and that kind of thing. But I don't know, that's probably a pie in the sky idea. But I just don't see this becoming a thing. But they are pushing for this Southern California race, and maybe they've run out of alternative options for a new race, and now they're having to try and find something that's already got its foothold.
I mean, even Formula E came here on a shortened layout and only lasted 2 seasons as well. They did not take off, and they weren't exactly great races we saw there, but the first corner was a bit Mickey Mouse. Jackson says, if it's this important of a market, you shouldn't have destroyed Fontana. End of story. Yes! Adam Emery says, thank you, Jackson. Sure do miss Fontana. I think we all miss Fontana as well. Go blow the doors off. Yeah, it was like... Odell NASCAR. What? Oh, I can't read that on a tiny screen. Come on, Jackson. Big letters. In capitals, please.
No.
I'm blind.
Don't do the show.
I'm blind. Behind the mic, Matthew very kindly has donated a $5 super chat as well. Thank you, Matthew. So thrilled for you guys. You're the absolute best. Thank you for everything you do for the racing community. Thank you as well, too, my friend, as well. That's very kind.
There you go.
Thank you. Winger. Thank you. Thank you. That's so hard. But yes, in this exclusive as well, Racer was also told by sources that Penske Entertainment and the promoter of other events on the IndyCar schedule are trying to prevent NASCAR from buying into Long Beach. Thank you. Now, outside of the Indianapolis 500, the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach, as you said, Matt, is the second jewel in the crown in IndyCar. And this potentially adds to a growing list of problems that IndyCar faces, such as the delayed hybrid engines, frustration inside the paddock about the direction of the series moving forward, and getting called out by Michael Andretti, and so much more over the past couple of months and years. Now, does this latest development make you even more concerned about IndyCar's future?
You just need to rewind maybe to the beginning of 21 season. Obviously, we're coming out of the pandemic at that point, but the racing and the on-track product was really, really good, and still is to some degree, really, really good. But how many more bullets have IndyCar got in their gun to keep shooting themselves in the foot with the things that have happened in the recent past? We've talked about the game. We've talked about the hybrid stuff. Me and Ben had a good discussion about all that kind of stuff before Christmas, I seem to remember, on the show when it was just the two of us. The Michael Andretti thing that came out of St. Pete, where he basically told Roger, get out and let us get on with it. There was so much excitement when Roger Penske took this on, and Indianapolis, of course, was the speedway as well, in that big deal. And where are we? It's just stood still. We've gone, is it more than 200 races now with this spec chassis, which is 12 years old? And again, there's been the pandemic, and there's been things that have, set wheels backwards in motion rather than forwards. And that's, to be had. And the world, as we know, is in a bit of flux at the moment with shipping and all that kind of malarkey. But there's always has been, and again, the last few years have proved it. There's something great about IndyCar, and people just need to realize it. And we'll talk about it probably in knots later. But the weekend just wasn't what it needed at all. And they're just like bumbling around in the dark with IndyCar in a box and trying to figure out what they need to do with it. Something really does need to happen. And we've talked again so far this year with all the machinations that are going on in the Formula One paddock. People need to get on the IndyCar bandwagon, and they just can't promote themselves out of a paper bag at the moment, it seems.
Indeed, as well. And see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. That seems to be the way that's going on in IndyCar at the moment as well. Let's put my earpiece in. A Day in the Life says, congratulations. Thank you very much as well. And we value you in the chat room all the time, giving us all the comments as well. I live in Indianapolis, and morale is low. I despair as well. It's I feel, is it actually a question today in the life, if you can mention the chat, is it worse than when Tony George owned the speedway? That's what I want to know, because we've got all this information coming in about a spec, Indy 500 grid, bump day possibly going. I want to know what it's like, because it's just, as you say, forget having a revolver with 6 bullets in it. They've gone for the full AK-47 and a full 30-bullet round that they keep just shooting off into the foot. They will have no foot left by the end of the season. Jackson says the money thermals race could be bringing to the series can help loads, but they keep talking about how that's Armageddon or something, because like that as well.